This is certainly not the video I intended to film today, but here we are. Hey guys, it's Emily, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about the rerun for Heartstring Symphony, which is Xavier's first solo card, and whether or not you should pull on it. If you didn't see my last video, I talked about Heartbeats Ablaze, and I am making this now a series on my channel where I'm just going to talk about the cards and whether or not I think they're worth it, personally. My opinion. But I'm also going to give you all of the information on the battle component to it, the story itself, and also the Kindled. And also just my personal thoughts, because I do have thoughts to say to help you give more insight. So we're just going to jump into it right away, because why do I need a preamble anymore? I think that about explains everything for an intro. Now first and foremost, this is a rerun. So the way that the pulling works for this one works like a little bit differently. Reruns have their own wish pool, so like the pity system of like Heartbeats Ablaze would not be the same wish like pity system as a rerun. If you've never pulled on a rerun before, you're most likely stuck at 70 for pity. But if you have, it might be a bit lower. The other thing to note is that reruns don't come with the free pulls that you may have gotten during the first run of it. Like I don't know if solo banners actually really do have free pulls, because I know that Silas's did not, and I don't think Xavier's did early this year either. So I was not around at the time when this card did come out, but I have played it on YouTube. But I don't know if at the time there was free pulls given, especially because this was the first solo card to ever come out. Like this came out, I think, the exact same day that everything else came out, because I think it came out like right at launch with the game. I also believe that this one ran shorter than typical solo banners. I think it only ran for a week in comparison to like the 10 days you usually get now for a solo card. That being said, it is being run from November 13th to the 20th, so it is only a 7-day period, which is typical for reruns. They are only a week, and it is in fact overlapping a bit with the Heartbeats Ablaze multi-banner. Now, if you are trying to decide if you want to get Xavier's card in Heartbeats Ablaze, or if you want to get this card, then hopefully this video will be informative to you, and if you haven't pulled on Heartbeats Ablaze yet, you can go check out my thoughts on Xavier in that video too, but I also will be talking about this card too, and you can decide if you want to choose between the two, which one you should get. But I did want to say that, yeah, pulling can be a little bit more expensive for reruns because you don't get anything for free. You have to just straight up use your diamonds. There is packs you can get for them, but like the current like pack that's like, it's like a separate pack. Like you have to get the ones for those specific wishes. There's like the limited time wishes that, you know, you could get for like Heartbeats Ablaze, right? And then there's a separate, it's like a separate wish pool. So like, be careful which packs you're buying too if you do decide to spend. Let's talk about the battle. So first of all, Heartstring Symphony is yellow. Xavier's one of like primary colors is yellow, so he has quite a few yellow cards, but in terms of limited cards, he actually hasn't gotten any new limited cards this year. Actually, no, none of his 5 stars or 4 stars this year, actually. No, that's a lie. There's a 4-star that came out this year that's been yellow. But aside from that, Xavier's gotten no new yellow cards since the beginning of the game, which is kind of surprising. His other yellow cards include his Lumiere myth, which was Twilight Dawn myth, which includes Midnight Rainfall and Midnight Whispers. This was reran back in April, I think, and it was the only thing, I pulled on like absolutely everything this year since I started playing, and this was the only thing I was not able to get. So I don't have this, unfortunately, and I'm very sad about it. But if you were lucky enough to get this either at the first time it was ran or on the rerun, then this is his yellow myth card. He also has Outcast Voyage, which is a memory you can get in the Wish Shop. It's basically just his Prologue to Tomorrow story, but if you need more yellow, there you go. He also has Faint Sensation, which is kind of, I don't think it was a multi-banner, but there was kind of this like heart work routine thing. So there was like 3 different solos technically, and this was Xavier's, and it was called Faint Sensation. So this one will probably be getting rerun soonish here. We also have Tender Night, which is a part of the Veiled Whispers multi-banner, which was the first multi-banner in the game. This was just rerun, so if you didn't get it in like the rerun that was in September, I don't expect this to be rerun for a long time now. And finally we have Fragment in Time, which is one of his standard cards that you can just get in the standard wish pool at any time. For his 4-star cards, he has the Solar Pair, which is Shining Light and Shining Traces. There's also Enlightenment, Dreams Within Reach, and Garden of Secrets, which you definitely have this one. If you don't have any of the other ones, you have this one for sure because it's the first wish you, or memory, 4-star memory you get in the game. In the Galaxy, you can also get Planned Crush, and there was a promise that came out in July of this year called Nocturnal Hunt. So because it's like one of his primary colors, he does have quite a few yellow cards, but at the same time, he hasn't had a yellow card in quite a while. I've seen quite a few, like, I think if you're a Xavier girly but you started late, in terms of battle, it actually might be worth it to get it since it's been so long since he's had a yellow card. Over a year, technically. Actually, because, you know, like the last one that was limited that came out was Lumiere. And aside from that, there was obviously reruns of things. But, you know, like he hasn't had a yellow card in a while, so if you weren't around at the beginning of the game and you do need some limited yellow 5 stars from Xavier, this might be worth it to pull on, especially if you didn't get his Veiled Whispers rerun. Because I've definitely seen like Xavier girlies actually excited about the fact that it is yellow and that they need it. Also, it's the first Xavier limited solo card, so I guess there's some coolness and excitement in that too. That is exciting. Now let's talk about the story. So like I said, I don't own this card, but I have gone through and played almost every single card in the game by just watching them on YouTube and then waiting for a rerun of them. And like I did mention in my Heartbeats Ablaze video, I do pull on like absolutely everything, and I've gotten everything except for the Lumiere myth, unfortunately. I did do like a whole tier ranking video where I talk about every single Xavier card, but this one, I don't know if I talked about that in depth because it was one of the first ones I played, and Xavier was the character that I started with when I decided I wanted to read every single love interest memories and stories. So this one, it had been a while since I played it, but I did kind of look back at my notes and a bit about the card to kind of recap myself with the story. I like the story a lot because it's very pre-relationship for Xavier, the main character. If you love the 4-star memory Close Feelings, I think you would really enjoy the story because there's a lot of that like tension and like building between them that I really love. The plot that I wrote in my notes was Xavier has been MIA for a few days while he's been on a mission and has been avoiding the MC's texts. While he does come back, the MC discovers that he has been injured. So, you know, you get some little caretaking scenes. And I think there was like a good like, why are you being reckless sort of thing, like from my memory, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And like I said before, it's very cute and sweet and has a lot of that like, kind of like towing the line of like, they both clearly have mutual feelings for each other and they're like getting close to like acting on it, but like not quite crossing the line quite yet. And that's something I do really enjoy about this card. On the flip side, because this was one of the first 5 stars to be released in the game, it's a lot shorter in comparison to what we're used to now. If you go onto YouTube and look for a recording of it, a lot of them are like 13 minutes in comparison to his newest Heartbeats Ablaze card, which was like half an hour. So in comparison to like what you may be used to if you are a newer player, it's probably gonna feel a lot shorter in comparison. The Kindled is also like pretty basic and simple from my memory. I don't believe we see the MC in it, so if that's something you care about, she's not there. And just like the story itself, the Kindled is also shorter than what you're used to. Like typically the Kindled is like 3 minutes, and I think this is like, depending on which recording I watched, some of it was like under 2 minutes and others were just about 2 minutes on YouTube. So the Kindled is very quick and fast, and it was back in the day where like the Kindleds would just end and like leave you wanting more. And that's kind of how you will probably feel at the end of this story. But obviously there's a lot more now that like you can find more out there. Now, my personal opinion on whether or not it's worth it to get this card, I think there's pros and cons, and I don't know if I have an exact clear answer for you. I did mention before that there's not been a lot of limited Xavier yellow cards, which is kind of surprising given it's one of his primary colors. That there's been quite a lack of yellow, so especially if you're someone who is a Xavier battle girly, you might want to get this. But there is, like, if you have his Lumiere myth, you might just do okay with having the Prologue to Tomorrow one and his standard cards, Fragments of Time, that's what it was called. But if you were unable to get Lumiere on the rerun, it actually probably would be worth it to get this card. coming from like just a strict battle perspective, because there's no yellow cards that came out this year and no idea when another yellow one will come out yet. Emily editing, popping quickly in here on my iPhone. I wanted to say that I also think if you do the senior 100 contest, a lot of the times it'll be like a lot of one color and then one of another color. So in that case, it might be good to stack up on some yellow cards, especially if you are using Xavier in battle, so getting a lot of yellow would probably benefit you. As far as the Deep Space trials, I don't think I'm far enough in his trials to like know if there's a lot of like yellow that'll come up, but his Deep Space trials just get harder and harder. So if you are a Xavier Gap battle girly, the more you stack up on, the better it might be for you. I'm sure there will be more yellow cards. It's not me saying that this is the end of the yellow cards, but it's been like well over a year since we've gotten a yellow Xavier card that wasn't a 4-star. It is nice seeing that like pre-relationship element to them, and just even, you know, seeing the start of Xavier cards. Like, it's his first card, and I think just that in and of itself makes it special. And I know this, for a lot of Xavier girlies, this is like high on their wish list of a card that they wanted to get. But at the same time, because it was one of the first, it's not necessarily of the same quality that, you know, his newest card, Offbeat Track, was. Like, I think the story is actually better in this one, but it is a lot shorter, and the Kindled's a lot more simple, whereas, like, not that Offbeat Track is bad, I actually really liked Offbeat Track, but to compare it with the other card that's currently of his that's out at the same time you can get, Offbeat Track will give you a longer story, more fluff rather than like the romantic tension that's in this one, and they're very different vibes from each other, and then plus you got like, you know, that whole dancing Kindled and Spice. There's also the fact that, like I said at the beginning of this video, this is a rerun, so it is more expensive, as you just have to use either the diamonds you have or start paying money. There will be ideally a bit of wiggle room with Xavier, as I don't see him having any new cards for a while, as we had feverish attempts that came out this year, so he's not getting a solo card anytime soon. We already had his third myth, his birthday just passed, so like the main Xavier events are kind of over for a little while. So the next time you're going to be seeing Xavier is probably in the next multi-banner and in the next promise, but the promise you have to pay for either way. If you want the promise card, you have to pay for that. So because of that, like the anniversary multi-banner will likely be around the end of the year, more January-ish. So if you think you have enough time between now and then to save up for the next Xavier card that you may want, then maybe go ahead and pull for it if you think that you have the diamonds for it and that you think that you can afford it. And if you're still not sure after everything I've said, honestly, like I said, they are on YouTube. You can go and check it out and see if it's a card that you'd actually be interested in based on the story itself, or checking out the Xavier cards you already have and if you want to use them for battle. I myself will be pulling, but like I said, I do pull on everything because I am not free to play. That's all I have for you. Let me know in the comments down below whether or not you are going to be pulling on this rerun. I'm very excited that it is coming out. I'm excited for reruns. I know they can be a little cash grabby. They will probably grab my cash because I don't know if I have the diamonds saved up, honestly. But just be wise. Be wise with the fact that, you know, we don't completely know the schedule. Let me know in the comments down below if you are going to be pulling on this rerun or if you are maybe going to skip it. And if you are pulling Star Girlies, I wish you the best of luck and that you will get him in 10 pulls. And hopefully he just comes home super easily. Xavier, for me, always has like the worst luck. I never get him right away. I always have to go to like hard pity to get this man. He likes playing hard to get with me. Whereas like characters with like Raphael just wants to come home all the time. So Xavier likes playing hard to get. Wish me luck. But that's all I have for you, and I will see you guys soon in a new video. Goodbye!